A very warm welcome to Wesley Impact Highlights. Today we revisit a show from 2013 featuring a typical Aussie mum who says she's found a secret ingredient to help keep household relationships strong, and that's important during the holiday time. Australian author, speaker and mother of 5 Lynne Burgess talks about her all-in night concept and her book of the same name. I hope you enjoy her story. Lynne, it's good to have you.
Thank you, Keith. It's just very exciting to be here.
Lynne, you wanted to take a proactive role in helping your own children discover their identity. How did the idea of all-in night begin? What made you think about that?
Well, my husband Chris and I wanted to be intentional about the way that we invested into the lives of our children. And I didn't have a particularly happy childhood, and so I wanted to take those negative experiences and turn them into positive experiences with our kids. And so things like bullying, if we talked about that at all-in night, we would teach our kids, don't be a bully to start off with, and secondly, if you are bullied, give them coping strategies.
So the concept of all-in night is also having a determined time, because so often family life can feel like you're just taxi driving and going in one door, coming out the other door. Everybody sort of understood this is our time together. Absolutely.
It was every Monday night. That's why it's called all-in night, because everybody had to be home. As you could imagine, with 5 children, we were quite busy. They were quite close in age. We were very involved in our church and in the community, and with school and our own business. And so having that Monday night was just, nothing came in between that.
So give us an example of what might happen on a night like that. If somebody was to follow your book or do it, what would you expect would happen?
All right, well, maybe we could talk about the night of encouragement. And so I would get a hat and I'd write all the children's name on a piece of paper and put in the hat, and I would just pass it around, and all the kids would take your name out and say, like I got yours. That week I would have to write you an encouragement note and pop it under your pillow at some stage. And so yeah, the child didn't know when that warm, encouraging note was coming. And then the following week, they'd all come back, because they always had a little project to do. And they felt good because they'd been encouraged that week.
Yeah, and there's something special about actually thinking you can make a difference to other people too, in your family context. That's really important.
Yes.
At what ages were the children? You say they're all together. What age were they when you began this concept?
Yes, our very first night, Casey was 2, 4, 6, 11 and 9. So there was only 9 years in between them. So we had a nearly teenager and just a toddler.
And every child is different, so that's acknowledged when people meet together in that kind of way.
Absolutely. It brings all the personalities together with a family of 7, and it helped our children to deal with personalities now that they're all in their 20s, with their girlfriend or boyfriend or in the workplace. It's helped them to deal with different personalities, which has been a great thing.
And are they doing the same kind of thing with their own children?
Yeah, we've our son Josh and his beautiful wife Tree have got 2 little girls, Eva and Ollie, and all our kids still come home on Monday night for all-in night. We obviously don't do the little projects anymore, but we all come back, and the girls contribute. Well, Eva's just 2 and she's just started praying at night and contributing to all-in night. It's good.
We're going to come back in a moment or two. Let me just pause it there and introduce today's performer. Shanti Batske is a regular on the show. Just as our guest Lynne has shared, anything worthwhile takes commitment, investment, care. Here's Shanti with Never Too Late.
I woke up this morning on the wrong side of Keith Garner's new book, A Word for the World, is now available. Dealing with the 4 themes of success, sorrow, society and spirituality, the 16 sermons in this book will definitely inspire and challenge you as you read. The book also includes a DVD featuring interviews with Nick Farr-Jones, Lee Hatcher, Tanya Plibersek and Margaret Somerville. For more information on A Word for the World, please contact us on 9263 5555 or at impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
Now, if you, like me, enjoy Shanti's music, you'll want to look at her details, and they'll be on our website all this week. Now, we're back with Lynne, who's been telling us something of her work in family relationship, speaking and encouraging people and writing. You talk about languages. How important is that, and what are these kind of languages?
The love languages?
Yeah.
Yeah, really important. We all have a different love language, and I'll give you an example. Daniel's, when he was a little boy, was words of encouragement. And so when he'd walk in the door from kinder and he would have this beautiful creation, all mothers know what comes home from kinder, and I'd go, oh, where am I going to put that? I'd go, oh, Daniel, that's fantastic. What a good job you've done. And he'd be just smiling from ear to ear. But whereas my daughter is quality time. And so if she was sitting in her bedroom, I would go and sit with her and just watch her do her craft, and she would just chit chat, and she would just love that. So each of the children, if you can find what their love language is, there's a great book called The 5 Love Languages that is a really good book and helpful with that.
So it's tuning in to whatever that is.
Yes.
Lynne, you did this for 16 years. How important is it when perhaps the dynamics of family relationships are inevitably, I think, there's some inevitability about this, inevitably changing because the world's changing?
It is. It is. A lot of times family are just sitting around, and sometimes our family is too, on their iPhones, on their laptops, and they're not communicating. And so it's really good to have at least one night a week, and you've got to do it every day, but at least one night a week where you all come together and spend time investing in their life. I think as parents we need to sow seeds of positiveness and encouragement and empowerment into our children. And so All in Night is a really good time to do that.
And although for you it's important Christian ministry,
yes,
this is accepted way beyond the Christian community, because there are many people would say, hey, that makes sense for family life too, doesn't it?
That's exactly right. I speak in primary schools as well, and because my first book is a secular book and my second book is a Christian book, and so I take that first book in, which really they're just Proverbs principles, into the schools, and I tell parents about that in the schools as well.
And we also mustn't make the assumption that because a family is a Christian family and people are Christian, that they're really giving proper investment of time to their families too.
Totally, absolutely. And I just have such joy and pleasure in speaking to many different families from all over the place.
Your second book really also, as well as being a Christian book, highlights, I think, some of the more personal aspects of this. And life isn't always smooth, is it? How did you connect with God?
I've got a beautiful art book that I have, and I draw a lot of pictures of things that I'm feeling, and I write my prayers in that book and favourite verses that I have. One of them is from Proverbs chapter 31 verse 25, for she's clothed with strength and dignity, and she laughs without fear of her future. Her words are wise, and she gives instructions with kindness. And that's what I try to live my life by, and God helps me. He walks with me everywhere, beside me, helping me, guiding me in every situation. And I love listening to Hillsong music. My mum, I can still visualise her sitting around the kitchen table with her prayer list there, and so I feel like I can pray whenever I want to, and God's there.
Now, you're now a grandmother, and being a grandparent, as I know, it creates a whole different relationships.
Yes.
And some of those are very, very positive, aren't they, what you can do. Do you think this is something grandparents can actually do?
Absolutely, but we have the girls a lot. I just love to have the girls over. They participate with us on Monday nights, and we do All in Night. And I know Josh and Tree, when the girls are a bit older, they're going to start their own All in Night. We pray with the girls, and we pray with them and for them. We try to role model things to them, like be encouraging and all of those things. So absolutely, if your grandchildren come over, you can do All in Night with them.
And that's so very, very... What are your plans for the future?
God just keeps opening up doors. Since I've written the book, which I feel like I didn't want to. I'm dyslexic, and we had 5 teenagers when I wrote the book. We had a business. I was so busy, and I just really felt that, you know, this is what God wanted me to do. And He has provided people every step of the way to help me, from the publisher to speaking events. I've got people. He just provides people. And so I'm not sure what He's got planned for me next, but I'm just loving life at the moment. It's just so exciting every step of the way.
Well, I'd want to say on behalf of all those families that are being helped in this way, we appreciate the work you've done in actually writing this stuff, but also encouraging. And so we pray God bless you in your future ministry. And most of all, that families will find the opportunity to spend time together, to grow and to encourage one another. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's been 200 years since the first Methodists met in Australia. To celebrate 2 centuries of faith and pioneering care, CEO and presenter Reverend Dr. Keith Garner takes us back to where it all began.
But we don't begin here at the heart of London. We begin in a town in the north of England.
In this fascinating narrative, Reverend Garner chronicles the history of the life and times of the founder of Methodism, John Wesley. This fresh and thought-provoking documentary takes us on a journey throughout the United Kingdom, beginning in John Wesley's hometown of Epworth.
John Wesley was born here on the 17th of June, 1703.
This 1-hour DVD travels onto his education years and beginnings of social justice in Oxford, to his final years in London. For more information on John Wesley, the man and his mission, call 02 9263 5555 or email us at impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
As my conversation with Lynne showed, family life can sometimes be unpredictable, and so putting some shape in it really matters. At Wesley Mission, we do all we can to help families stay together. Let's take a look at our West Lakes Family Connect programme north of Sydney and how it supports mothers and their children.
My name's Louise and I'm the Program Coordinator for Wesley Family Services West Lakes. We actually support families with children under 8 years of age, and we do that in the way of family support, playgroups, parenting programs, mums and bubs groups, and we also do one-on-one home visiting. Generally we're looking at around 40 families a week would access the service.
I heard about Wesley Mission running at the school here through another mother. We thought it was just another playgroup, but we were so surprised when we turned up to have extra support. When I started coming, both of us would often end up in tears. And then my daughter was diagnosed with ADHD and ODD, and she became quite violent. And it was just somewhere I could come and let my guard down and be myself.
As Rennie grew older, Erin started to do our parenting program. So she did our 1, 2, 3 Magic and our Triple P, a positive parenting program, and then a recent one, a reflective parenting program. Through that, we've just watched Erin grow and develop as a mum, and she's so much more confident.
In the 3 years, we've definitely got our confidence back and our sense of humour, and we have a great time now.
The whole objective behind what we do here at Wesley Mission is to provide or help make connections for families in the community, so they've got somebody that they can lean on, someone they can talk to. It becomes like a real family group for them.
The other mothers, we're really close. We all enjoy catching up. We see each other outside of playgroup now. We also understand each other a lot more, which is really important because we've all heard a bit about everyone's story and what everyone's been through. And you don't normally get that in a normal social environment, but in the environment that Wesley Mission provides, you know, the safe, and you can talk without being judged. It's really helped build some wonderful friendships.
I really, really love seeing the benefit that the mums have, and knowing that, you know, just providing that little bit of support, it can strengthen them, it can help them be a better parent. We also have partnerships, and one that is a great partnership running at the moment is with TAFE. So the mums are able to enrol in a TAFE course at the playgroup, and they're just building up, you know, back to work skills, so they're gaining that along the way. Without ongoing support, without the community supporting us, we wouldn't be able to continue to do the work that we do here. Families would miss out and they would have nowhere else to go. There is no other service like this out here.
Without Wesley Mission, and especially Louise and the support she's provided both myself and my child, we wouldn't be this happy, strong family unit that we are today. Yeah, life was miserable and you know, it's good. Life's good.
Now, in the Old Testament, first book of the Old Testament, Genesis, it's an amazing book, really, but it covers some of the most important events that give shape to a people in our Bible. And chapter 5 covers a very, very long period of time. And in our series, when I'm thinking particularly of people that you might not normally think of significant as important, there's one name that sneaks in. And it could be considered the brightest spark of a long list of people's lives and families. Now, as a minister, I've down the years conducted hundreds of funerals. And I often, when I've told of somebody's death, I think about a person's life and I write down words that help me to define that person and see if I can find some appropriate sentences that sum up their life. It would be wonderful in retrospect if we could think of a person in this way. You find it in the scriptures here for us, and it's quite a clear but very, very simple description of this man Enoch, because we're told about Enoch. Enoch walked faithfully with God. I mean, isn't that an amazing thing, that at the end of life you might be thinking of a person and say, this person walked faithfully with God. I'm always wary about people who talk about walking with God as though it's some kind of confident thing. The great thing about here is it describes the whole and totality of a long life that speaks powerfully in terms of discipleship. You see, his relationship with God was the defining feature of his life. I mean, what defines your life? What defines my life? One of the great things that came out of that interview is how important it is for children to feel some sense of confidence about themselves through encouragement, through a language of love, and helping them to feel that they can make choices of whether they look at the world through a half full glass or a half empty glass. What is the defining feature of this man's life? Is that he walked with God. He lived in close relationship with God. Was it beauty, calm peace and spirituality that led to this description? Well, it might well be. That might well be one of the reasons why they said of this man Enoch that he walked with God, because there was something about the way he lived. There was something about the way he talked. There was something about the way he related to people that said, this man must live in the presence of God. This man must somehow know what it is to not only walk his own life, but walk his life in relationship to God himself. And I think that that's really a very, very powerful descriptor of a person's life. But he also lived a long life. Now, there's some very, very long lives, actually. In chapter 5, our understanding of years may well be very different. But when you talk about somebody living as long as this person, there's the hint is that when he became a father, that he began to walk with God. Now, that's quite clear that there is that kind of hint that's given in the description here that you find in chapter 5. When Enoch had lived 65 years, he became a father. Then we're told that he walked with God. I mean, that's another family comment, isn't it? Because we've just talked about the importance of children and of grandchildren and how they can make us think more deeply about our own lives. I mean, I can say that family life changes you, because you become aware of the importance of those around you and those people for whom you have a great responsibility. And so here's a man who walked with God despite all the challenges of family life. I mean, we talked earlier about the fact that it's changed today. It's so busy. But those of us who are followers of Jesus Christ, when it comes to the end of our lives, I wonder how we will be remembered. Will we be remembered as those people whose lives are so frenetic that we can't stop because we're running hither and thither, here and there, doing all kinds of things? Or will we be thought of as those people who walked with God? where there is something of a spiritual serenity, where there is something about a real presence in our lives that makes a profound difference to the way that we live our lives. I mean, wouldn't it be great that we're thought of not just in terms of achievements, not just in terms of what we have, not just in terms of those people that we have managed to influence and affect, but that we're known as not only friends of others, but friends of God. Amazing, really, to think of that friendship being something that's reflected by our walking with God. It's a great thing to be a friend of God. I mean, I know that it's important that we have a holy fear not in that frightening sense, but that respect. All that's important. But the friendship that we have with God defines the way that we live. And you and I are called into that kind of living relationship. So when life comes to an end, let's pray and hope that our lives reflect our friendship with God. May He inspire you this week and draw you closer so that you might really know what it is to walk with God and be a real friend of God.
If you would like to know more about today's topic or for more on Keith's message, contact Keith by writing to Wesley Mission, Post Office Box A5555, Sydney South 1235, or email impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
Many thanks for joining us. It's true, bringing up families in our current climate is tough work. Taking time out to invest in one another is crucial. Sometimes we just need a helping hand or take a small risk to make a start. Next week, we revisit Chris Foley and his inspiring story of forgiveness. See you next week. Till then, goodbye and God bless you.
Life's too short for dwelling on the things you haven't got. Life's too short to think you've only got a little, you got a lot. Life's too short to live in fear. Don't play it safe, don't hide away. Life's too short, take a risk or watch your dreams slip away. 'Cause your life's too short not to stand for something. Life's too short to spend pursuing nothing. Hold on tight, stand up strong, 'cause this ride don't last for long. Don't step back, lead the way, your forever starts today. 'Cause your life's too short not to stand for something. Life's too short to spend pursuing nothing. Hold on tight, stand up strong, 'cause this ride don't last for long.